Okay, we'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity Top Gun Sales Boot Camp Training. Boy, we've got a lot to go over today. So, if it seems like we are going over a lot of information in a short period of time, the reason it seems that way is because we are. So, each one of these, if you don't see that there's context, like meaning I don't see the value of attending, every one of these. Take a chapter from Tom Kuntz's, and he'd hear the same story three or four times, and he'd get something new out of it every time. And so this is the mind of a 3-year-old. It's fascinating where they'll watch the same show on TV or on video or something like 10 times. And it was always like, why does that happen? Like, why does that happen? The reason is every time they go ahead and see it, it's a different experience for them. They're seeing something different than they haven't seen before. So talk to your mentor if you're not, if you're attending these and you're like, I don't get it. I don't understand why this lesson applied to me. So, people a little smart aleck to me once in a while, and they're like, Mark, what do you think you are? The smartest person in the room? And my response is, that's interesting. Have you ever thought about that? Like, who is the smartest person in the room? And most people have not. So, um, the smartest person in the room is the person who's the best student. And so, who's the best student? How do you become a great student? One of those things is communication. And so, learning how to communicate, when to communicate, who to communicate, how to communicate, learning how to do that. And so, we're going to be talking more and more about the three C's. And so, consistency, consideration, and competency. So, consistency plus consideration equals competence. Competence is what gives us the ability to sell. So we become competent in selling. So we're going to be going into some really cool stuff today. Looking forward to it. But let's dive in with Nora. What you got?
I had 27% yesterday.
Nice.
And then I had a question. So I have a client that is looking to like go into Action Vision actually said something to me last night about it. I didn't approach him. He approached me on it. So how do I like kind of move that along but not like, be pushy or like but still move it along?
Yeah. So one of the things is when we understand personalities, it's absolutely magical because the amiable, if you push them, they will often give in and they'll buy, but then they'll change their mind and not buy. And if you're talking with where there's a married couple or even in business, the opposites can attract too. One's going to be one personality, one's going to be another. The amiable will give you false signs of buying. So we've talked in the past about, buying signs, like where you do trial, what's called in sales is trial closes. Like if we could do this, would you move forward? And so on something like this, when I have what you're facing, Nora, is inner conflict. And it took me over 15 years to figure this out. So you guys are blessed to be able to learn this faster. Um, there's inner conflict, like they need to be pushed. Often this is with the amiable, but it can be amiable analytic. And once in a while, it can be the expressive too in the driver, but often it's going to be the amiable analytic where they don't like to be pushed, but they need to. If they don't get pushed, they're stuck. So you got to push them, but you can't push them. They want to be pushed. They don't want to be pushed, but they need to be pushed. And so you have inner conflict. I need to push them. And I did this with, was it Kevin yesterday? And so what you do is you share the inner conflict with them. Like you just tell them, you just say, I have inner conflict. Like I don't like to push people. Like if people want to go ahead and move, fine. And if they don't, that's fine too. But a number of people, and you can say a number of people in the system, a number of our clients, like we don't push them to move on, but when they join, they said, I wish you were a better salesperson, Mark or Nora. I wish you would have pushed me more. So there's a part of me that doesn't want to push you, and there's a part of me that there's a part of me that says I really need to, and I don't know how to handle that inner conflict. Can you help me? You definitely review over the data. So you review over the data. So you go back to the data and you say, okay, what's their personality? So you're presenting their personality in, you're presenting their personality in their language. So the solution, you're presenting the solution in their personality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you're bringing in their pain and highlighting it. A trial close would be like, if we can help you, if we can show you how to help you save time, if that's the biggest challenge, if we can help you do that, if we can help you better help your employees. So what you're doing is, in the questions, you're gathering data. In the presentation, you're presenting a solution. If I'm getting data. So yesterday with Kevin, he wants to leave the factory. So he's got his own company. He wants to leave the factory in July. Well, that's 4.5 months. He needs to be on Action Vision now. He I mean, he's going to lose all of that income when he leaves the factory. So he's not going to be in a financial position to go ahead and go into coaching when he leaves the factory. He needs to get it now. 3 to 6 months is what he needs to do. And if he doesn't do that, he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle to hit that goal, one, and he's going to struggle to stay out of the factory, two. So when you're presenting the solution, you're always referencing their personality, their biggest challenge, what they'd love help with, the goals of, so the first three, first in 90 days, if you were on coaching, if you're on an Action Vision system, built a plan, designed a plan, so you're continuing to use your communication to highlight their pain and how you can solve it. So, that's why we ask in level three, questions, we ask, so if you were in coaching, if you were being coached, what are the three most important things you'd want to accomplish in the next 90 days? Biggest challenge is probably number one thing to highlight. And then you have love help on is probably two, maybe, but not for the Amish, their WOW income goal, but definitely for sure the number of hours he was working 80, wanted to get down to 35 hours a week. And we're not using the systems like, I'm guessing, could be wrong, but I don't know I know I'm not using it. And so in the testimonial book, do we have Mary's testimonial?
No, I usually just give them like a paper, like a letter.
Yeah. So we ought to put Mary's into that, because what we're doing is we're taking box 12 feed successes. So that ought to be, and you could give them the letter and you could also put it in the book. And then the salesperson can reference that. I could say, hey, do you have the case study? And then you point them to the book. So it's feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. Others have felt the same way. And this is what I found. So we could come up with testimonies from Kenny, from Luke, and from Jason on getting out of the factory. And soon, is it Cletus? No, the other one. So you're using, these are all tools. It's like building a house. You have tools. Why? To make it more efficient. You get more work done in less time, and it's higher quality. Same thing is true in sales. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you got?
Nope.
Kenny, what you got?
And so there seems to be some like the salespeople that need to have some level of maybe natural gifts or talents to interact with in just interacting with people.
Yep.
haven't learned how to train that yet, and my question would be how do I look for that in people?
Sure. So I don't really believe there's natural salespeople, but I do believe that there are people that are naturally able to connect and get people to know, like, and trust them. So the person who can get them to know, like, and trust them is going to definitely be the expressive is outgoing. So the expressive and driver doesn't go ahead. They're not as concerned or fearful of rejection. Like, hey, that happens. And so the amiable and the analytic is going to go ahead. The amiable and the analytic is going to go ahead and have a more fear of rejection. And so the expressive driver might be the most natural salesperson there is, like Tom Coons. Because what they have is they have assertiveness. They have one with people, and then they have one with task. The expressive amiable, the expressive amiable is pretty good too. Because the expressive will go ahead and get people people will like them, and then know, like, and trust here. But what your personality is missing is going to be the driver. You have some analytic too that's in there, but the driver, and so your fear of, conflict, and so the expressive is going to be the most natural. What's the least natural?
Analytic.
I don't know. I think the driver analytic is really hard in sales. They have a hard time in sales.
Why do you say so?
Because they love people, but they don't like them. They don't like being around them. They don't like to convince people of stuff. It's just, hey, here's what it is. It is what it is. They don't like people. They don't typically flow well naturally with people. So these people will typically these are the ones that have the hardest time in sales. So why does the driver analytic, why are they have the hardest time in sales, and they can make the best sales manager? Why is that? So typically the people who get promoted into sales management are going to be who?
Salespeople.
Good salespeople.
The what?
The best of the salespeople.
Yeah, the best of the salespeople. Yep. And why is that? Why is the best salesperson often the worst sales manager?
They have a lot of natural gifts.
They have a lot of natural gifts. They have a lot of unconscious competence. So they don't know why they're good. They just are. So if you don't know, if you're good and you don't know why, that's a great place to be for personal productivity, but it's not a good place to be to build systems, because you can't embed the warm belly rub into the systems. If you don't understand the warm belly rubs, what you're doing, if you don't understand it, you can't build systems, you can't transfer to other people. It's very, very hard. So I struggled with sales big time, but in sales management, I was a monster, because it's like I have social autism. It's like I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to people. So I respond improperly. And so it's like, okay, mental no. And so why I'm a maniac when I do something right. I want to know why I'm doing it right. So, I'm probably a natural, like, just dumb, but I want to be smart. So I have to work really hard at it. And so what I've done is I've learned how to be a great student. And so I think a lot of men, when they hit 40, they kind of hit their peak, and then they kind of level off. Like I kind of achieve what I wanted to in life, and then they start going down. With me, I mean, nobody told me I was smart until I was 40. So I didn't hit my peak. I hit the foundation, like I hit the foot of the mountain. And I'm like, dang, this is really cool. People think you're smart. Like people, wow, okay. So I think what happened to me is like what they call a late bloomer. Like it took me a long time to figure people out. And so now, once you get like now, it's so much fun to learn about people and learn why and what's going on and all this stuff. There's so much curiosity. There's so much more that I need to learn about people. So, Kenny, any one of the four personalities can be successful. That's really what Top Gun is about. And so it's how was I able to switch my personality to amiable? It's based on knowledge and discipline, knowledge of what an amiable does and think. How was I able to switch my personality to, expressive? It's knowledge and discipline. It's like, I'm going to just switch it. I train my brain. I learn how things work. And then I just discipline my brain to follow the knowledge. Like, it's just, this is what I'm going to do. Well, I know it's going to, I know it's not going to work. It's okay. Like the secret about time, when I was 40 and Tom, he came into my life, Tom Kuntz, and everything changed. So I spent a year pursuing him, leaving messages, never returned. And then one day, I called him at his lunch, and his executive assistant wasn't there. He just picked up. So you guys, if you really want to make a lot of money in sales, you go after big accounts, but big accounts, whole different ballgame. One mistake, you lose everything. You can lose years of work. So you guys probably want to put that into your checklist and say, hey, Mark, can you 5 minutes every day, tell us a story about your key account. So Tom, he got on the phone and he went ahead and he said, hey, this is Tom. I said, Tom, this is Mark Boersma. Oh, Mark, I'm so sorry I haven't called you back. Yeah, no. And so I asked, and so we talked just briefly. And I said, yeah, Lance introduced us, and he had mentioned you might be interested in writing a book together, co-authoring. He laughs. He says, Mark, I'm not even good at writing a memo. I said, well, good news, Tom. See, if I didn't respond to that just perfect, I'd have lost that opportunity, a friendship that's gone over 2 decades. And I said, well, good news, Tom. I have a system where all we got to do is talk, 10, 15 minutes, a day for whatever, a few weeks. And I'll pull everything out. I'll just do it. I'll do all the writing. You don't have to do anything. He's like, really? I said, yeah, no, that we can do that. So we talked a little more. And he's like, okay, well, let's do it. So we scheduled a daily call. And about 2 weeks into it, 3 weeks into it, he said, hey, Mark, I have a question for you. And I said, okay. And he said, I talked to my legal department. And that's not good. Whenever they're talking to legal or accounting, those are people that are evil. Like they don't want you to succeed. They want to keep you away. I said, okay. And I knew that. And I'm like, okay. And he said, are we going to make any money on this book? And I have to respond instantly. Fortunately, I had, over 20 years of sales experience. So how did I respond? Yeah, you can't take that long. You take that long, you die. You guys have got to learn to respond faster. The Amish, they struggle responding quickly. And in sales, especially with key accounts, you have to learn to respond quickly. Your brain has got to process stuff fast. And so that's reflexes. So when I was playing pickleball yesterday, that she's teaching us how to go ahead and do tracking and the paddles. And so it was funny because she hit one to my backhand and I got it. She said, but was Mark being reactive or proactive? And everybody's like, reactive. And she laughs and she says, he does have cat-like reflexes. So he was able to get it, but it's not controlled yet. And so how I responded to him, I said, I don't think so. He's like, oh, good. So I had a sense I was supposed to answer, I don't think so. Normally you'd say, are we going to make any money on this? People are going to be like, yeah, I want to. But I had a clue because I asked him, I said, what would you rather do, Tom? Would you rather make $250,000 on the book? What's the goals? What do you want to accomplish? Would you rather make $250,000 on the book, or would you rather impact 250,000 people? Oh, impact 250,000. It wasn't the money. So understanding we often place ourselves, in the person's situation. So it's training, Kenny. It's being able to go ahead and you have a natural salesperson. The downside is they often will stop growing at certain levels. They struggle with certain disciplines of growing. They're not going to probably grow as somebody that doesn't have the natural skills. They're often like the expressive is going to have a hard time knowing product line. They're going to often overpromise, under-deliver. Even a natural salesperson, it'll be easier to get them to sell, but it can be harder for them to succeed at great levels, high levels, or you'll have a whole bunch of other things. Every salesperson who succeeds for reasons, and they'll fail. Their strengths or their weaknesses. Anything else, Kenny, you got?
No.
Luke, what you got?
So yesterday I did 100%. Had the delayed action result principle again. So I guess my question is, in B2C sales, how do you,
6:30.
a lot of people don't, when I ask for a budget, they don't know.
What you do is you typically go ahead and say, do you have any ideas on budget? Have you thought about that? And they'll say, no, I really haven't. Say, no problem. So you release them from the responsibility of knowing and say, do you have a range? Is there a range, kind of a low range and a high range? Because we can come in, a lot of our clients, a lot of our customers actually like three types of solutions, kind of basic, intermediate, and advanced. They kind of like when we come in, this is here's three different options. You can, so a range, a budget range. So our customers like a budget range. Do you have a range that you're looking for? Makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got it.
So that's where in pickleball, it's the same thing. Teaching you guys something is one thing. You guys having it based on reflexes is a whole different animal. Andrew, what you got, sir?
Nothing. Pretty good.
So, Kenny, you want to train Andrew to where he always has something. And so my understanding is you did some good work yesterday. Kenny, did you teach him in Manage Up and Out?
No.
So there's certain things, and you're going to need checklists and say, okay, there's certain core things that I need to teach somebody. Because in sales, we're going to make, and if you really want to make a lot of money, you develop other people. That's how you do it. Well, to develop other people, you've got to go ahead. And so one of Kenny's greatest weaknesses is he picks stuff up pretty quick. Some stuff really quick. Sees it once and does it. That's going to be a weakness because he's going to think other people do that, and they won't. So he's going to have to learn, okay. But then he has other things too, like, Manage Up and Out. He doesn't have the experience yet in being able to go ahead and anticipate what's going to happen. They're going to struggle with Manage Up and Out. So when we go into consistency in preparation for today, in consistency, here's the map out on consistency, which is fascinating, right? So in the little things, consistency in the little things. So you all should go ahead and say, how do I go ahead and build consistency in something I don't want to do? It's exercising the brain to have delayed gratification. It's exercising the brain to be disciplined. It's how we think. And then how do we be consistent in the big things? And how do we be consistent in doing things I'm directed to do? Like, you guys have not, pretty sure you haven't picked up, like in the 4 years that I was in sales and then sales management and then VP of sales, in the 4 years, I was only told twice to do something once. See, most people, they have a standard, well, I'm told to do something. Like, I'm not going to do it until I'm told to do it. I hate that. Like, I don't want to do that. That's a follower. That's not a leader. A leader is not going to be told what to do. A leader's got to see what you need to do before you do it. That's a leader. And so I have two in 4 years. There's two things I was directed to do that I should have done without being directed. I didn't want to be told twice to do something. I didn't even want to be told once to do something. So if you're being told to do something twice, yeah, that's sloppy. That's just sloppy. That's just sloppy. You have to teach people that because they're just used to it. Why? I don't know. Their parents counted to 5. That's a goofy thing. I don't know why parents do that. I don't understand that. I'm going to count to 5. The child, what you're doing is training them not to do what you're told to do. Like when my kids were little, it's pretty simple. Do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told, do it with a great attitude. This is what you need to learn how to do. If you learn how to do this, you're going to be successful in life because the rest of your life, somebody's going to be telling you what to do. And the most important, and the person who's going to be told the most what to do is a business owner because they're going to have a bunch of customers telling you what needs to be done. You need to get out in front. One of the reasons that customers like me is not because of my charming personality or my nice demeanor. I know that comes as a huge shock to all of you, but it's not. It's because I get out in front of them. I think about what they're thinking about before they even think about it. And then seeing things which need to be done before being directed, which I just said. Then trusting the integrity of the system and then doing things that doesn't seem to make sense. Like you just do it. Like this is the turtle relocation principle that I learned from my brother being in the Marines. We'll talk about that some other time. Learning how to improve the system. Like what about when the system doesn't work? You don't throw out the entire system. Don't be like the analytic. Well, there's one wrong thing, so the whole system. No, it's one thing that doesn't work. And maybe it does work. You just don't know it. Maybe you're just doing it wrong. Ever thought of that? A lot of times the analytic doesn't. They think, nope, I'm perfect. Okay, copy that. So maybe it's not you. Maybe the system doesn't. Well, then fix the system, make it better, but do follow the system. And then consistency and being thankfulness, consistency and being humble. And then what's in it for me? And then, I'm not that caring. And then I'm not that hard of a worker and I'm not that smart. I'm not that righteous. I'm not that caring. I'm not that hard of a worker. I'm not that smart. It's vaccine against pride and arrogance. And then, ownership is a part, consistency. How do I take ownership for the things I clearly mess up on? And then how do I take ownership for the things which may not be so clear? Like it's not clear it was my fault, but you know what? I'm going to take ownership. And then how do I go ahead and take ownership for things that others do? And then consistency and growing. And then considerate of other people's personality types, of the people who think they're very different, who think very differently than I do. And then competency. So there's stuff here, and that is and I haven't checked on you guys in the Top Gun sales boot camp training. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are slopping off on that. That won't be smart for you guys to do. And then team building here. And so connecting it back to that. So Luke, do you know how it's just wired in you to make you look good?
Probably to
What's that?
maybe I know a little bit.
Oh my gracious. It's crazy. Like at the Coffee Connection, you made yourself look good. And Ginger Ann and Elaine went ahead and called you out so fast. Luke, is that what you said? No. Like you made yourself look good. When you sent an email and you said they're not something about it's a little bit off. 50 grand? Like really? Like it's fascinating to me. Like there's so much. I'm like, Luke's just a little off. It's like 50 grand off. Now, again, I could be wrong. Okay. But, and then, I mean, I had to tell you guys, you and Kenny, how many times? 3, 4 times. And then Kenny, did you adjust the numbers down by 20,000 or something on your report on cash coming in?
30,000 was adjusted.
30,000. How do you have 30,000 less? Like, this is how much money's come in this year. And then all of a sudden there's 30,000 less. What in the world is going on there? And Luke just kind of bypasses. Yeah, a little bit off. 50 grand off. How is that a little? We're slightly off. Like, that's not slightly off. Like, ooh, if that's slightly off, cool. I can't wait. I'm going to slightly change Luke's compensation. Just slightly, just a little bit. Luke, come on. I mean, don't make yourself look good. You make yourself look like an idiot. You make yourself look like a goofball. You make yourself, people will mock you. People will laugh at you. Like, Kenny, you shift something $30,000, which is, I don't know, 30%, 20%, 25%. And did you say anything? Did you highlight what went wrong and how it was? Did you do any of that? Probably not.
No.
So it's ego. It's ego. And it's sloppiness. It's just, and so, like, you guys want to highlight, like, Nora and I were having a conversation. She said something to me, and I missed the second part. I didn't hear it. She was right. I was wrong, and I missed that part. And so, why do I like making mistakes? Because it normalizes me. See, other people, they don't like making mistakes, but it's not that big a deal because they make so many mistakes. It's not a big deal. I mean, track your mistakes for a year, seriously, and then get everybody else to track all your mistakes too. Like Navy SEALs, you'll never hear a Navy SEAL ever. You won't ever hear a Navy SEAL say nobody's perfect. They never say that. You never hear a top Olympian go ahead and say, nobody's perfect. You never hear them say, they don't, it's like they don't enter into their mind. Like, what do you want to be? Do you want to go ahead and be the best of class? Not perfect, flawless, less flawed. So when you do, you highlight your mistakes. You say, yeah, I was wrong. They were right. I was wrong. You highlight that. You go ahead, because that's how you help. That's how you learn. So hopefully this has been helpful. Anybody else have anything else? All right. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Good work, everyone.